This presentation of Towards Sustainable Worldwide Utilization of Chelonians is presented by Ivana Mali and her co-author, Michael Forstner, both at Texas State University in San Marcos, Texas, USA.
Chelonians are a unique and distinctive part of biological diversity, first appearing more than 100 million years ago. Turtles also have a long history of being utilized by humanity. For example, in Asia, turtles are #1 protein source. This is followed by use of turtles for traditional medicine, wildlife pet trade, and so on. Past and present overcollecting is now causing severe declines, even extinction, of several species of freshwater turtles, sea turtles, and tortoises. Such a declines can have a great impact on ecosystems. For one to properly apply management strategies, one must first understand what ecological sustainability is. By the definition, if humans are utilizing the living components of the ecosystem and that ecosystem is able to renew itself indefinitely, that use is considered sustainable. However, there is complexity of determining sustainable level of harvest. One must understand the species behavior, natural history, and many socioeconomic factors. So far, we have two major sustainability approaches: top-down, which involves making laws, and bottom-up, which involves the community-based conservation. We present you the examples of use of turtles and different management strategies in 4 different regions of the world. We begin with Asia and move on Africa, Central South America, and North America. In Asia, Asia supports the world's richest turtle assemblage and is the world's largest consumer of turtles. At the same time, Asia is one of the most densely populated places on the earth with some of the poorest households. Those poorest households depend on wildlife trade as their #1 income resource. And the wildlife trade has led to severe population declines, which today organizations as sites in Asia set the goal to reduce the current rate of loss. Asian turtle trade is still highly unregulated, so we argue that top-down approach might not be the best solution due to lack of scientific knowledge, families dependent on direct harvest, and lack of control. Therefore, we argue that bottom-up approach would be more successful, such as building turtle facilities, education centers, and involving of local communities. In Africa, turtles have not been studied as much. However, that does not mean that this part of the world is of a less concern. Freshwater turtle bushmeat trade has been recorded, and a high level of tortoise utilization has been recorded. Several studies show that tortoises population levels are declining, and the public is willing to participate in conservation efforts. Madagascar is another unique example where 5 out of 7 species of turtles are endemic to the region, and all 7 of them are listed as endangered. Some steps towards sustainable use of turtles are, of course, bottom-up approach, involvement of local people, development of ecotourism, which seems to work in some parts of the South Africa where reptile-based wildlife tours are developed, and also workshops on how to end unsustainable take. Concerned in Central and South America, river turtles in this part of the world have a long history of being utilized by humans with a similar patterns like the ones in Asia. Forest people are posing the greatest risk to abundance, and current conservation levels are insufficient, leading to decreased density and lower proportion of adults, especially females, since females tend to be larger and more valued on the market. Some practices for sustainable use: bottom-up approach, support of conservation by local communities, but also administration of laws such as year-round possession limits, short close seasons, series of protected zones, and so on. An extremely good example of sustainable use of sea turtle eggs come from Costa Rica, where all ridley sea turtles come to nest. Beaches tend to be saturated with nests, and later nesters dig up and destroy previously laid eggs. This was the basis for legalization of egg harvest, where the legalized harvest decreased the natural loss of eggs, but at the same time increased the income security. Turtles in North America are very important historically. They have been used as a food resource, but today many species are targeted to supply the Asian food markets. In addition, populations are declining due to the indirect anthropogenic factors such as urbanization. Many states of the United States, such as Texas, Oklahoma, and Florida, passed laws restricting commercial harvest, and today many researchers are combining the knowledge of turtle ecology with the cure and harvest regimes to test sustainability of those regulations. We focused our study on Texas for several reasons. In the past 20 years, Texas became the leading turtle exporter, and majority of harvest takes place in extreme South Texas. As a response, TPWD now prohibits turtle harvest in public waters, but leaves the private waters unprotected. Therefore, we focused our research on that extreme South Texas, and we asked several questions. Have populations declined over past 30 years? Are there demographic differences between protected versus unprotected sites? And are the new regulations sufficient to prevent turtle overexploitation? We had a unique opportunity to compare our results to the data that is 30 years old, and we found that far fewer red ear sliders and Texas spiny softshells were captured, and also far fewer turtles were captured at long-protected sites. Also, we found red ear slider capture rates to be higher in the protected versus unprotected water bodies, and the female red ear sliders and male and female Texas spiny softshells were larger in protected versus unprotected sites. We also wanted to test the indirect anthropogenic factors at the same sites because turtle mortalities, it is believed that turtle mortalities tend to increase with increased road densities. Although we saw some trends, but it does not appear that the road density is responsible for the significant changes in turtle populations. We also wanted to test the efficiency of the current regime passed by the TPWD, and we found that only 2.2% of water bodies in the state of Texas are protected under the current regulations, and also, moreover, in South Texas, only 22.9% of unprotected water bodies could potentially be replenished by protected water bodies. So by combining all these results so far, we concluded that current harvest management regimes are unlikely to be sustainable. So in order to develop an appropriate model for sustainable harvest of turtle, we believe that one must understand the unique natural history of turtles and know the turtle abundance of that region. Also recognize how land use changes influence turtles and treat turtles as a dispersing game animals. Also, one must be aware of socioeconomic factors of the country. We believe that examples provided above of successful management regimes could be applied elsewhere in the world with only minor adjustments. Sustainable harvest of wildlife resources require that top-down and bottom-up approaches collaborate and engage local people, scientists, governments, and resource extraction companies.